He was shot in the back of the head while he's reading the newspaper on the front of the store and shot the tip of his thumb off. I'm standing here in Nachtrieb, Colorado. It's the town that my great-great-grandfather, Charles Henry Nachtrieb, settled. This entire area was the frontier, was the wild, wild west. And it's really exciting to explore what my family was about 180 years ago. The old general store, the remnants of it that's been remodeled, that my grandfather built, and in which he was shot and killed on the front porch of one morning reading the newspaper. He was head of the vigilante group out here, the law. And so they had a lot of those old Western cowboy interactions, and no one ever really found out who killed him. I don't think they really wanted to. The Old Nachtrieb Ranch, which covered a lot of acreage throughout here, is now owned and managed by the McMurray family. We also have a deed to our cemetery on their land, which we're going to take a look at up on the hill. The White House we just walked past is this one, and we're back here. This is the grist mill, which is no longer there. And this is a painting that was done of the photograph, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it was 1907.
1907. Mm-hmm. This is Mount Princeton?
Yep, Mount Princeton and Mount Ontario. Here's the Chalk Cliffs.
Yeah, Chalk Cliffs, and that's the Chalk Creek.
It was diverted into this ditch,
okay,
and it runs along the hill. And this was the transfer from the water from the ditch to here.
And they had these big stones that Grandpa brought over from Germany. I heard, that's my understanding.
That's what I understand.
And they were made of chert and grist, and they would grind
the wheat. Yep.
Into yeah. See what it is it's old compressed seashore from Europe. You see the shell in there, the seashell?
Take that home with you.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You know about it.
So this is what it is compressed seashells from prehistoric times that form stone, and because the seashells were sharp, the stone is sharp, so it's very sharp and it would grind real good, and so they'd make these grist stones out of it. The story you were telling is that when it burnt down, right out there, the grist mill burnt, these stones fell into the water. They were hot and then cooled.
And they shattered
into pieces.
Into pieces.
All the way from Germany.
Yep. That's what I understand too. I've heard the same story.
Yeah. That's something. So this is the Murray family.
Ken McMurray.
Yeah, and that you can introduce the history of how you guys came here.
Somehow my great uncle Frank Feeling acquired this portion of the ranch from your great granddad Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck.
I don't know how there was some sort of transaction or something, and they kept the Nocturia, we call it the Nocturia place, down the head of Browns Canyon, and then we acquired the north end here.
So the 1850s or 60s, about when Charles came over, and you know, I think life occurred. He got killed. Margaret had to run the ranch. It went to the kids, and etc. And those things kind of start to come apart over 180 years.
Yes. Things here. They're amazing. They're hand hewn.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Just hewn them into squares.
Yeah. They had teams of horses. This is set up for teams of horses.
Yeah. Now I read some family lore about Charles had this team. He had teams of oxen too.
And probably oxen. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
And he went one time. They were snowed in here, and they're running out of food in Nachtrieb, and he ran those oxen up somewhere over, might have been Browns Canyon or somewhere, to get food.
To get for the general area.
Yeah, for the general area. He got stuck up there in a snowstorm, and because the oxen were so valuable, he didn't want to eat one or something, so he took the reins and boiled them down into soup and ate the reins to save. It's like he didn't want to eat his car, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this would be where he stabled them. Corrals are the original corrals, but they've been rebuilt because time and the stone walls freezing and thawing in this weather have just come all apart. But up here is some of the original stone walls here that existed, that were built, and we were just discussing how just tough these guys were to build this stuff by hand. No machinery. We're sitting in the original house, and you can tell it was pointed out to me by the thickness of the walls. There's apparently stone sitting in here, but This was how they built the original homestead here. And I guess you were saying it was sitting on top of...
There's some sort of footprint here that was originally an Indian place of residence of some sort. We said Indian fort.
The grist mill that was out in front of the property here, it was burned and then torn down, and these cabinets are made from the wood left over from that, salvaged.
Wow, no, there's some.
Yeah. And we don't know what kind it is. Right up here on this hill, we're going to go up and around. This is the cemetery, the Nocturia Cemetery at the base of Mount Princeton. There are about 20 unmarked graves. They did a study out here, and there's a bunch of, there are 20 more bodies than are marked in here. So we're not keeping cattle in or out. So this big tall one here, this is the original cemetery plot. Here, you can barely make it out anymore. At Nachtrieb, and it says Chaz Nachtrieb. This is my great-great-great-grandfather who founded this whole region. And right here, if you can see, it says M-U-R-D-E-R-E-D, murdered, 1881, 48 years old. He was shot on his front porch. That's a whole nother story. It's the only one in Chaffee County that has murdered on it. This is it. This is where I'm going to be buried, somewhere in here. We'll take a look around. But everybody was some kind of obviously significance to the family. My understanding is older man McMurray is going to be buried up here as well, because they're very attached to the land as well. But this is the Nocturia Cemetery, and it's deeded now by the McMurrays for us to continue to maintain it and keep it as a historic site. And yeah, besides Germany, this is where my family is from and originated. It's pretty neat to see.